What's up, it's your girl KD with Abundant Legacy, and today I have a topic that's probably been talked about for ages, argued about, argued about. But we're going to talk about it. So how did this come across? How did this come about? I had a question. Most of the time when I run across something in the Bible and I want to share it, it's because I had a question and I found something in the Word, maybe a direct answer to that question. And sometimes as I'm looking for the answer to another question, I get stopped at something else. And that's kind of what happened here. I was doing my pandemic, I was doing my pandemic budget. And, the Lord has been blessing you, girls. So I was just like, ooh, got me a little money, extra money. What should I do with it? Let me throw a little cash or something. But nah, get your tail out of debt. That's what I was thinking. And then as I was thinking like that, I thought about the scripture that says the borrower, or the person who borrows, is a servant to the person who lends. And then I was like, dang, do servants give a tithe, Lord? In response to that. And so I went and looked for it. And as I was looking for that, I ran across this scripture. And so without me talking too much, we're going to talk about tithing, or read about tithing. This scripture was like, what? You'll see why. I'm going to read it, and I'm not going to be looking up much, so maybe I'll put something in front of my face. But I think it's really good to hear all of this. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy, I'm going to leave that in there too. 14 and 22. You must set aside a tithe of your crops, 1/10 of all the crops you harvest each year. Bring this tithe to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored, and eat it there in his presence. This applies to your tithes of grain, new wine, olive oil, and the firstborn males of your flocks and herds. Doing this will teach you always to fear the Lord your God. Now, when the Lord your God blesses you with a good harvest, the place of worship he chooses for his name to be honored might be too far for you to bring the tithe. If so, you may sell the tithe portion of your crops and herds, put the money in a pouch, and go to the place the Lord your God has chosen. When you arrive, you may use the money to buy any kind of food you want: cattle, sheep, goats, wine, and other alcoholic drink. One version says beer. Then feast there in the presence of the Lord your God and celebrate with your household. And do not neglect the Levites in your town, for they will receive no allotment of land among you. At the end of every third year, bring the entire tithe of that year's harvest and store it in the nearest town. Give it to the Levites, who will receive no allotment of land among you, as well as to the foreigners living among you, the orphans and the widows in your towns, so they can eat and be satisfied. Then the Lord your God will bless you in all your work. What? Let's talk about the first part of this. When he said eat it. When you get to the place where you're supposed to get your tithe, you eat it. Right? And then he said you eat it. I don't know if I don't think I've ever heard a teaching where it talked about you actually, of course it's not an agricultural society we live in, but still, I don't even know what the equivalent of that would be today. But he told them to eat it. And then he tells them not to neglect the Levites, okay? And he gives a reason. He tells them that because they don't have any land in the agricultural society. That's important. If you don't have land, you don't have a way to get food. You don't have a way to sustain your life. And so he tells them not to neglect them. All right. But then he tells them to eat it in a way that they're going to remember to fear him and to reverence him is to celebrate when they're eating the tithe. That's the first thing that came to my attention. The next thing is, when have you ever heard about a third year tithe? What? And then notice what they do with the third year tithe. He instructs them to give it to the Levites, the foreigners, the widows, and then the orphans, the vulnerable people in that land. Because foreigners, they didn't have any land and any inheritance in that foreign land. Widows, of course, is the male-dominated society, so they didn't really have as many rights. And then orphans as well, they didn't have many rights. And so the Lord tells them to take care of those people. including the Levites, right? Man, you can take from this what you want to take from it. I just had a question, and when I saw that, I was like, what in the world? It transformed the way I think about the tithe. One of the ways, of course, is God cares about people. It's always going to be about people with him, right? When even in Malachi, when he tells them to bring all the tithes into the storehouse, bring out so that there may be meat in my house, food in his house, because the Levites didn't have any way or any other way, tongue-tied, to get to their food. But with this understanding, he was talking to people who already knew this part. This understanding, hey man, take from it what you will. My takeaway though is God cares about people, cares about you, not just the other people, because he told them to eat it and celebrate as they were eating with their family, right? So God cares about people. Two, he cares about the vulnerable around us. So how can you bless somebody among you even now? Even though we're not under that law, it's important to get to get the principles there. God cares about his people. I don't know. When I see something that like that, I'm just like, what? Why ain't nobody been talking about this? Comment in the comment section, subscribe, tell somebody else about this scripture, read about it yourself, do some more research. This thing though was so good to my heart, and I tell you, one of the things I want to do is like bless people. See y'all later. Golly.